is.
The game is over, and now KVNU Aggie Game Day continues on News Talk KVNU and Sports Talk Radio, The Fan. A complete recap of all the action of your Utah State Aggies. Phone calls and texts are welcome. Aggie Game Day coverage is sponsored by Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, LSS Insurance, Young Truck and Trailer, DD Auto and Salvage, My Mattress, Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, Elements Restaurant, White Pine Funeral Home, ChemDry of Northern Utah, Aegis Home Health and Hospice, Les Olson Company, Prodigy Brewing, Cache Valley Bank, Jarek's Fine Jewelry, Darrow's Appliance, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, S.E. Needham Jewelers, and Golden Spike Electric. It's KVNU Aggie Call with Al Lewis and Eric Branson.
And Ryan Boehm joining with us again tonight, and the final score is 55-0. Alabama beats Utah State. They had the lead 41-0 at the half, scored in about a minute and 13 seconds to start the second half, and then added one just after that as well to make it 55-0. And they had taken out at that point their Heisman Trophy quarterback, who, again, Bryce Young had a terrific game against the Aggies, 5 touchdowns in the first half. He rushed for 100 yards. He had the 2 longest runs of the night, really almost for them, except for a running back run. So, again, they dominate the Aggies. Unfortunately, I have to be the purveyor of bad news. It is the first time since 2007 that Utah State has been shut out in a game. So, gosh, 15 years in there. The last time they were shut out was by Boise State, 52-0, the final score in that game. So we are underway, and again, the text line is available. I know it ends with 0321. 339.
0321. That's okay. A 435 prefix.
So that's the text line, and of course you can use 753 KVNU if you'd like to join with us. And since Ryan Boehm is here for the first time this year, Aggie running back, who incidentally had 94 or 98.5 rushing yards against Alabama. The Aggie team tonight only ended up, Ryan, with 79 yards rushing, so you did better in the game that you played against Alabama. And you guys, it was, 35-3 was the final score in that game.
Yeah, 35-3. I think we missed a couple field goals. We're in the red zone, several times and just couldn't get it in the end zones. But
they could have kicked some field goals tonight to maybe, or at least maybe tried one. But it was not. It was a feeble effort in a lot of ways. It really was.
No, that was disappointing. I don't think anyone really believed that we could win this football game. But you go in, you move the ball against an Alabama, you get a couple stops, and then you know that you can move it against anybody and you can get stops against anybody. But we didn't get any stops. We didn't move the ball. We really accomplished nothing, unfortunately, in this game. And so, it's kind of just a forget about that, move on to Weber State, because there's really not a lot of highlights to kind of point out.
Well, Coach took Logan Bonner out early in this game and played Cooper Lega and Levi Williams the rest of the game. So Ryan's thoughts on it. Eric Franson is here. Your thoughts on it, Eric?
The pain is over. But at least they come home with a fat paycheck. Rough day for USU. It just seemed like it was conservative play calling. Give Alabama credit for taking away a lot of stuff that Utah State tries to do. I don't know that we can really learn a lot about who this Utah State team is just yet still. Because Alabama is really, really, really good. And I think they were I really don't think that we saw everything that Utah State can do. Would have loved to have seen more of a passing attack from the Aggies. A little surprised that they didn't try to sling the ball around a little bit more. I thought, Alabama's got some young corners, and Utah State has a lot of different wide receivers. So I would have liked to see a little bit more of that tonight.
We had 23 yards on the very first play of the game, a fade pass to Brian Cobbs from Logan Bonner. The rest of the ball game, let's see. I'm going to add up how many plays we then ran the rest of the game. We ran 58 other plays, and with the 58 plays, we ended up with 113 yards in the rest of the 58 plays after 23 on the very first play of the game.
And most of that was in garbage time against their second guy. So I don't even know if we can really say that.
Yeah, through 3 quarters, your point is well taken, Ryan. Through 3 quarters of play, where's my stats? We had 86 yards. So we ended up with 50 yards of our yardage in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So that is in the garbage time when you're already down 55-0 going to that last quarter. So.
Hey, but Ike Larson, he showed out. I mean,
the guy makes plays, doesn't he?
He gets a big hit, probably led us in tackles, blocks that punt. I mean, that kid showed up, represented for Skyview High School.
And played and started his career at Logan High School.
He did.
So he's a local guy for sure. That was really the highlight of the game. So you might want to talk about that. And again, our text line is 435-339-0321, 753-KVNU. And we might even be able to talk to some people who were at the game. We're hoping to be able to hear from that. We need to pause quickly as we're at the top of the hour.
News Talk KVNU Logan, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Sports Talk Radio, KLGN Logan, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Our game day on KVNU, Les Olson Company. Remember, they're telling you about make sure you get the risk taken care of ransomware for your business. Take action with their Les Olson Security Suite. You can get a free assessment at lesolson.com. Half of all organizations, so that's not just business, that's a lot of people with email. Again, ransom attacks have happened in and really caused some places a lot of trouble. All right, we're going to start again on the people's comments on this because this is your show. Ryan Bohm to answer your questions, Eric Franson here, myself, Al Lewis to kind of moderate, push the buttons, give you the stats and some of the other figures. And what have you got for us tonight?
Yeah, a couple of texts coming through on the text line here. One from 4086. Did we get away injury-free?
It looked like to me most of the guys who went off the field kind of walked off, or there were cramps maybe, and some of that. I don't know.
Did you worry about Hale Motuapuaka?
Maybe because he didn't come back in.
Yeah. I mean, he was able to get off under his own power. Don't know the severity of that injury, but outside of that, didn't look like there's anything too severe. 5338 texting in, what happened to the second quarter comeback? Aggies had Alabama right where they wanted them.
You know, it is our MO.
That's kind of how they roll.
Well, we were only down 17-0 in this one, you know. It's still
question.
Double digits, yeah.
2070 texting in. Our third and long up the middle runs were fun. 4th and 1 was embarrassing, like we don't practice. Also, we typically have some sort of a plan offensively. It's like we didn't know what we had, what we've had success with. Did we attempt a ball between the hashes or a throw between the hashes? It was the throwing game was a little baffling. Running game. They're committed to try to make a push and try to make something happen in the middle, whether it yields success or not. I mean, that was proven last year. But last year we also saw a pretty prolific passing attack. We didn't really see them even attempt very many throws tonight. So that's one of my biggest questions about what happened tonight in Alabama.
It's kind of mind-boggling for me because going into that game, there was no scenario where we were going to be able to run the ball between the tackles. I mean, we struggled last week against UConn, and you're coming in to Alabama, who arguably has the best front seven in the country every year, year in and year out. And they have the best defensive player in the country coming off the edge, and we're going to run a read zone scheme with a quarterback that isn't mobile. I mean, it's kind of a death sentence. And so the first play of the game, we throw the ball vertical, and I think, okay, here we go. We're going to throw the ball at these guys because it's the only chance we have. And then, unfortunately, we go conservative and then start running the ball. And you get behind the chains against a team this good, you're just not going to convert 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, et cetera, against Alabama. So I was really disappointed that we didn't just sling it around. What do you have to lose? Like, throw the ball every time. Throw 70 times. Who cares? Be Texas Tech for a game and just sit back there and sling the ball and see if you can make some plays happen.
Put them on their heels. Mix it up a bit. Yeah.
What do you have to lose?
So what if you throw a few picks?
It doesn't matter.
And our passing game isn't exactly like deep drop back and that anyhow.
No.
So you could maybe even put, if you feel Bonner can't be as mobile, even try Laga moving him a little bit to throw the ball some or whatever. But again, this wasn't the Las Vegas Bowl for him. I mean, the LA Bowl for Cooper Laga, obviously, when he got in. But again, when those guys get in, the game's really already decided and done, and all the other stuff has happened. I mean, it was really, really there. We went for the third time we had the ball down 10-0. We went for first down on fourth down, and 1 yard to go, and we threw an incomplete pass. So that shows that we know we can't run the ball on the 4th and 1. But then we threw the ball, and it wasn't even close. Remember, that was the play on the sideline when Bonner looked like afterwards, like maybe he thought somebody was going to be over here, but it wasn't. The pass wasn't even close to anybody on the 4th down there. And that's, at least we're going for it there at 10-0. Then later on, we got the ball in their half of the field, and we're down 55-0, and we punt. Yeah. Why? I mean, it doesn't do us any good to punt the ball.
I don't know. I've never liked the mentality of I don't want to run all my plays because I don't want to show future teams what we're going to do. And I get it, like maybe you got a fake punt that you don't want to show. Mm-hmm. But your basic offense, just run your plays.
Because nobody we play is going to be better defensively than Alabama. Just They're not going to be able to stop all of our plays.
Just run your plays. Mm-hmm. Like, do we really need to? Are we scared of Weber State next week? Are we afraid, I
might be right now.
To just run our offense? Like, just run your offense and then make some tweaks in future games. But to feel like, hey, we just really didn't want to show anything tonight. Like, I just don't like that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you guys. At the end of the game, Utah State gets deep into Alabama territory. On that final drive that Utah State had it,
got to the 16-yard line.
They convert, right? They're down there, and it's they miss on the 3rd down, so it's 4th down. Opportunity, your easy field goal range.
4th and 6 is what it is.
But instead of going for the field goal, they try for the end zone. Do you go for the points just to get points to avoid being shut out, or do you still go for the end zone to see if you can still score a touchdown?
I think you go for the touchdown.
Yeah, at that point of the game, I think, maybe if it's early 4th quarter or something like that, you might kick. If we were there right at the start of the 4th quarter, kick a field goal there. But I agree. I didn't feel bad about that. I felt bad about, again, punting the ball in their half of the field when you're down 55-0 anyhow.
Yeah.
Already, why punt the ball when you're in? First time I think in the game we were in their half of the field on that series, and then we punted the ball.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think, look, it's not going to really change any outcome here. Yeah, you may avoid getting shut out, but I think you keep telling your guys, look, we're going to keep pressing. We're still going to try to make plays. Let's try to get into the end zone on these guys. So that would be my opinion. I know there's some people disagreeing, saying you go for the points, but that late in the game, that big of a blowout, try for the end zone.
The only real area that Boise, I almost said Boise State, Alabama was worried about going into the game a little bit on their defense was their cornerback spot. That's the new area that they had players there. We went out and got a 23-yard pass play on the very first play of the game against that spot, and then we really didn't attack it a whole lot more the rest of the game.
We really never attacked the middle of the field.
And then, and try to make them do something across the middle, yeah.
And we can... I mean, when you run a lot of this short yardage, quick route type stuff, it's almost an extended running game. And so if we can't run the ball in the middle, then throw the ball to the outside, take 4 or 5 yards. You can get 5 yards every single play against any team in the country if you want to. You can do it. And so, again, why did we not sling it around 70 times if we knew we weren't going to be able to run the ball? But again, I don't know. I don't know what we're trying to see or what we're trying to figure out. But let's just throw the ball because obviously we're struggling to run it right now.
Yeah.
A couple more texts coming through. Get your guys' reactions. 6543. Wanted to know, is there a mercy rule in college football?
They don't keep the clock running in the second half, and they should have.
They should. Okay. Also, let's see here. Another text, 2070. Is Bohm having Brent Guy running up the middle offensive scheme flashbacks?
Hey, that offense, I rushed for 100 yards against Alabama with that offense.
He got 100 yards. He did. With you caught a pass or two in that game in the backfield too?
Yep.
And you said you were showing your kids your highlights of that game.
We did. We looked back. We found something on YouTube, funny enough, that had some of that game.
I think that's great.
Hey, we moved the ball against those guys that game. I mean, Pennyman had a great game.
Mm-hmm.
K-Rob had a great game. I mean, we missed a couple field goals. It really should have been closer. And I think they were number 5 in the country and 7-0 at the time or something. So they weren't this team that we saw tonight. They weren't the number 1 team, etc. But they were a good football team.
All right, let's take a quick break to get started. I think they're getting close to maybe even getting the coach or players on after the game here from Alabama, and we'll be able to hear what the exchange is with the media down there. So it's 55-0 for the Crimson Tide, number 1 in the country, and they showed it to Utah State tonight as game day continues, and we'll be right back.
Don't get caught without power after a windstorm or a major winter freeze. Golden Spike Electric offers Generac backup generators so you can be prepared and keep your home warm while avoiding frozen pipes. Golden Spike Electric is one of the largest Generac dealers around, so you know it'll be installed right. Whether you're a homeowner or an electrician, contact Golden Spike Electric to rest easy the next time the power goes out. Online at gsegenerators.com or call 435-257-3016. They also service other models.
Summer is cruising by way too fast. It's already back to school time. Soon you're going to start experiencing many special places and events that you won't forget, such as your first slide down Old Main Hill, attending Aggie football and basketball games, or a wild party at the How, and your first kiss on the Aggie Bowl. That might just lead to that extra special moment at Jarek's Fine Jewelry, Cache Valley's engagement ring store, where it's all about the romance. Just look for the bright green cars at 930 North Main Street.
The Young Automotive Group is proud to announce Young Truck and Trailer Center in Cache Valley. Whether it's heavy equipment trailers, horse trailers, race car trailers, or cargo and utility trailers, we're excited to offer some of the finest trailers and flatbed work trucks to Cache Valley. Our team of experts look forward to helping you find the right truck or trailer to fit your needs, with competitive prices offered on every make and model for sale on our lot. With our extensive inventory, you'll find the best deals right here in Cache Valley. Young Truck and Trailer Center, just off Highway 89 in Logan. Think young, drive young.
It's KVNU Aggie Game Day, brought to you by Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning on News Talk KVNU and Sports Talk Radio, The Fan.
And brought to you by Aggies Home Health and Hospice. Their core values are character, experience, and trust. Here to meet your healthcare needs. AEGIS 435-723-9000 or myagis.com. Also brought to you by, I guess I should mention, Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, as well as one of our sponsors. And they're at 2245 North, 400 East. Their new location is out there in North Logan. They also have the Providence location on Gateway Drive, and again, to handle all your ear, nose, and throat situations as well. Aggies and Alabama tonight. Somebody's got LSU on the screen here. That's the reason why I'm looking at that. But 55-0 was the final score. Utah State loses the number 1 team in the nation. It was not a good performance. Again, quickly, they had Aggies have 136 yards, and like we said, they got 50 in the last quarter. They had 79 rushing yards and only 57 passing yards. It'll be interesting to see when they go back through the books, see when the last time we've had some of these low numbers for Utah State lately with what we've seen offensively. Alabama, 559 yards, 278 rushing, and 281 passing. Their leading rusher tonight in the game was, again, Bryce Young, who had a career-high rushing, 100 yards. The guy is really good.
He's incredible. So much poise in the pocket, great pocket presence. He's mobile. He doesn't want to run, but he will. And then, obviously, he's surrounded by some insane talent, running backs, receivers, a lot of young guys out there who got some good time, but, they're all 4 or 5-star guys, so it's pretty nice to have 5 guys out there that can all beat their man.
He had a 63-yard scramble. He had a 20-something yard, another scramble run of 22 yards that set up their last touchdown when they scored there right at the end of the first half. They took over with 1:05 to go, and they scored at 15 seconds left. And he had a 22-yard scramble that led to that. And then Gibbs had a 58-yard run. So he did have the long run of the night, the 63-yard run for them. They didn't have a lot of big, huge, long passing plays, but they were very, very efficient with him throwing the ball, obviously, for sure. So 55-0. We should quickly, before we get looked like they were connecting here, and then they're kind of gone off now. Ryan, you watched some while we were watching of the Utah game. Utah-Florida game was a heck of a game tonight, and Florida wins it. Their 33rd consecutive home opening victory.
Yeah, back and forth. Utah's going to look back and recognize they left a lot there. They went for it a couple times in the red zone, got stuffed. Obviously, throw an interception at the end of the game. on that last drive with 20 seconds to go. Utah should have won this football game, but give it up to Florida, new head coach, first game, huge win. Hurts for the Utes. They're talking college football playoff, et cetera, top 10 ranking, and that's probably dead now. So
they'd have to totally dominate every other game they play this year.
See, the big thing is, Utah at least competitive in that game against Florida. We'll see where Florida ends up being in the SEC. But hey, Oregon supposed to be the best team maybe in the Pac-12, and they get hammered by Georgia. Their performance is as scary. It was worse than ours in a lot of ways, obviously for national reasons and everything.
Especially with the hype. I think they were ranked 11th or something, and Georgia just absolutely blasted them. So the Pac-12, as usual, lots of hype and not a lot of production.
But in the big games where they had a chance to maybe make a statement, things like that. Colorado State got beat badly by Michigan, I know today. Yeah. Wyoming, Andrew Peasley, again, leads them to a double overtime win.
Yeah, much different performance from the former Aggie quarterback tonight than what he had in his season debut. 20 of 30 passing, 256 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also rushed the ball 10 times for 45 yards.
Speaking of that, did you see anything from Laga and Williams as a backup to Bonner to think that it's – I'm sure they'll still start Logan Bonner in the next game, and they took him out early here because it was obviously we weren't going anywhere tonight. He's had an injury. He hadn't played much in the fall camp, at least as far as getting hit and all those things. We're going to need him in the rest of the season. But did you see anything from those guys?
I really didn't. I didn't really see anything from any of our quarterbacks. Our offense was so bland, and we didn't throw the ball aggressively with any of them. We threw it up a couple times, but it was almost like don't throw an interception. Was the feeling when we threw the football. It just wasn't step, throw across the middle with confidence to a receiver that's open. It was this let's just try not to turn it over type of mentality. And so I can't take much away from this game from the quarterback perspective.
So let me ask you guys, a lot of comparisons going into this game for some people. At the year Utah State traveled to LSU, the year they won the national championship just a few years ago, to this one where Alabama certainly looks like they're poised to be in that position. How are the games different, or are they pretty much the same? When they went to Alabama, or went to LSU,
it was
with Gary. It was later in the season,
and they were in the conference play, and you could tell they didn't want to ruin any conference chances.
Coach Anderson was not happy about having to go play that game, and I think his body language and his attitude really kind of was spread throughout the team. You could tell the team just didn't really care to be there. This game, as it went on, I started to get the feeling like this coaching staff is like, we know Alabama's good. We just don't want to get hurt. We don't want to do anything too bad. We're going to play conservative. We just want to go home. Did you guys get that same feeling, or are there comparisons between the two games?
I'm really disappointed in how the game. I thought that we could score at least maybe 10 points tonight and maybe lose 40-10 or something like that, maybe 42-10 and stay inside the spread. But again, these national guys know what they're doing as far as over and unders and point spreads and all that kind of stuff. They're really good, and they were on this one as far as the point spread, knowing Alabama was going to cover, and they did tonight in that. But the other one, I was really disappointed by the effort of who we were at that point, I thought we could go in and show a little bit against LSU, and we showed nothing. I don't know if I had any real big expectations we'd show a lot against Alabama tonight. Maybe that's my perspective. What do you think?
Coach said one thing that kind of set the tone, I think. He said he called this game a necessary evil, and I kind of was like, what? Granted, we're not going to go in and beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa. We're not going to beat them anywhere. But go out and play. Go play a football game and play hard and do what do you mean necessary evil? We're just lamb to the slaughter? We're just already looking past this game? That to me that's unfortunate, because I think it translated into the game. It seemed very quickly that we were kind of disinterested. The play calling looks that way. Defensively, I'll give Ephraim Banda credit. He kept bringing it. it's tough against that quarterback. He's that good. He just audibled and just took advantage of it. But we were pretty,
took off and used his athleticism and stayed right around the pocket.
We stayed aggressive defensively, which I appreciate that. But offensively, we just were not interested in this game. And that's too bad for these kids, because what an amazing opportunity to go and play there against this caliber of team. And you want to perform. You want to go out and move the ball. You want to get some confidence. If we had gone down and scored a couple touchdowns and been aggressive, then, I mean, you can take that and build on it. And you can say, hey, if we can go score on Alabama, we can score on anybody. But instead, we just closed the playbook up and just tucked it away in the second quarter.
At least it seemed that way for sure. Absolutely. It just seemed
and
like
then
that.
you're like, you take nothing positive from a game like this, and that's just unfortunate.
And the thing is, Coach said going in the last time he was there, hey, we were starstruck at the start of the game, and we can't get off to a slow start, and we've got to be on top of things at all. So he was talking like and it happened exactly in this game the way he was saying, that we couldn't have it happen. Is really what ended up happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's infectious, right? I mean, how the coach approaches things. The players can read the body language. They know. They can feel it and emulate what's going on there. So at the start of the week, the coach is already feeling defeated. And he's like, oh, I got to, I personally have to try to do my best to get the team ready to go. But through the whole press conference, how many different times and different ways, so these guys are so good. We're not going to beat them.
We did hold them to a field goal the first time they had the ball, and you almost felt like that was a little bit of a gain.
Yeah.
And then we go in and have Tyler run 1 yard, 2 more incomplete passes. We punt the ball right back to him, and then that's when they get a Burton catch, Apprentice catch, and then all of a sudden here's Burton for a touchdown. And then you just kind of felt like, okay, then we come back. McGriff gets 5 yards but can't fight his way to a first down. On the next one, we're a yard short. We go for it on that 4th down at the 34-yard line of Alabama, don't get it, and they score in 3 plays after that, and the game's over. It really is. And again, seemed like maybe the offense was over at that point of the game, too.
Yeah, and I get the fact that, we need these money games to support our program and all this other stuff. But for me, it boils down to being a competitor, being a Division I college football player. Like, our first 22 guys are legit D1 athletes, okay? Now, they're not Alabama level, but so their guy runs a 4.38 and our guy runs a 4.45. Like, they're still legit athletes. And we just got annihilated. Like, we shouldn't even be in the same game, like the freshman team against the varsity team. And it really shouldn't be that way. I think our effort and just going out and just letting it all hang out, we didn't do that. And so that's just disappointing to me, because now it's like, okay, well, what do we expect next week at Weber? Are we going to keep the playbook closed? And because we don't want to show our conference guys.
Because you felt like first game we were a little bit even conservative too.
Totally.
against Connecticut.
It was the same play calling against Connecticut. They're just not Alabama. And so are we just going to do the same thing next week? Like, hey, we still, we're not to conference play, so we really don't want to,
we don't open
things
it up until we play UNLV and then Air Force or something like that.
So then all of a sudden
that
you're just
becomes your identity.
You're going to flip the switch all of a sudden and just be spread and throw and all this stuff. Like, these are the games where you're supposed to find that identity. And right now I'm like, I have no idea what our offensive identity is. We don't throw it deep. We don't necessarily run it very well. We don't have a mobile quarterback, so we can't really read option. So what exactly is the Aggie offense coming off a year where he threw for almost 4,000 yards? Like, I mean, this is the last hurrah. He's played in college football for 17 years.
Yeah.
Let him sling it.
And I don't know why it just flashed in my mind. Devin Tompkins would have been nuts tonight. He would have been going, throw me the ball against these guys. I'll go get it.
Give me a chance.
Yeah, we'd have seen that. I guess we're still waiting for the coach, so we're going to take a quick break here because we know that's going to start to run on for a while when that happens. So we'll be right back, or we'll get to the coach as soon as he gets there. It's game day on KVNU. Brought to you in part by Prodigy Brewing, the first and only brew pub now here in Cache Valley on Center Street. Pizza, burgers, and brews down at Prodigy Brewing. And it is game day on KVNU and the Fan.
You're first and goal at the 10-yard line with seconds left on the clock. Your running back is poised for the game-winning touchdown, but before you can make the snap, the opposing team just takes the ball and locks it in a safe, and they won't give you the combination unless you pay them $10,000. That's exactly how ransomware works. And in 2021, 2 out of every 3 organizations fell victim to ransomware attacks. Protect your business with Les Olson Security Suite from Les Olson IT. Learn more at lesolson.com.
We would like to welcome Prodigy Brewing to the heart of Logan, Cache Valley's first and only brew pub with family-friendly dining. With an upscale twist on classic brew pub fare and ingredients sourced as local as possible, they are thrilled to be part of the heart of Cache Valley. Bring the family and try their wood-fired pizza or their mouth-watering signature burger. Located on beautiful Center Street, open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Pizza, burgers, and brews. Tasty.
This is James Stevens with White Pine Funeral Services. We are humbled by and grateful for the tremendous support we have been shown since opening our doors nearly 2 years ago. So we just want to say thank you. On behalf of everyone at White Pine, first and foremost, thank you for allowing us the honor and privilege of serving you and caring for your loved ones. Additionally, thank you for voting White Pine the best mortuary in Cache Valley in both 2021 and 2022.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
KVNU Game Day returns with the voice of the Aggies, Al Lewis, Eric Frenson, and Ryan Bowen.
$55-0, the final score. Utah State again saw the Heisman Trophy winner and Bryce Young, and he was good. I think Will Anderson, their linebacker, we thought he tackled one time for a tackle for a loss and maybe was in on another play, but you could tell, again, they were watching where he was all night long. But tell you what, there's a lot of athletes on that Alabama team that, again, are big and strong to move around up front. And, again, Young was terrific tonight. He's got some good receivers. That addition of Burton is going to help them for sure. Alabama impressive tonight. Georgia impressive. Ohio State not as impressive, but I think they did beat Notre Dame, didn't they? Final score?
They came back and got them.
Okay. So they're number 2, supposedly, and Georgia was number 3. I would imagine, I mean, Notre Dame's number 5, so they're not a bad team, obviously. That's a big win for them to get that game in a close way. But I'd have to think that people are going after Alabama and Georgia right now in college football.
Yeah, I think, as usual, the SEC is just another level. I mean, Ohio State should be good. Who knows who Clemson is this year. But Bama and Georgia are just so much better, I think. Yet to be seen, Texas A&M, some of those others. But Bama and Georgia are just next level.
Just an impressive performance. You said we got some other questions or comments. I think we're still waiting to hear from coach or a player. It sounds like they're not going to have an offensive player, is what the interchange we just heard a few minutes ago, because there's really not an offensive player to ask questions to. They shouldn't have to answer for this, but on the defensive side, maybe they'll get Ike Larson or something. Again, he was the star of the game. Blocks a punt, interception, made a hit or two. In the plays he makes so far, we're just seeing a kid who really does want to make plays for Utah State. Freshman. And I thought maybe on the offense side, Robert Brooks, the freshman running back, might have come in and been about as good as anybody in the game, too. These two freshmen have played. Yeah. And Nana Davis at the end of the game at least recovered a ball and got a pass and did some things, too.
Yeah, I thought Briggs is really impressed with how he runs the ball, period. Mm-hmm. These first 2 games. Patient, has good field vision. So I've been really impressed with the true freshman there. A couple texts coming through, guys. Get your reactions. 1790 texting in, our wide receivers spend half their time out of bounds. That's the only spot we threw tonight, out of bounds.
You made a good point about that, Ryan, is when you really spread the field like we do, we're pretty close to the sidelines to get shoved out of bounds.
Yeah, I mean, when you're outside the numbers, if the corner just shades you to the inside, you have to release outside, and then he just pushes you and you run out of bounds. So, I don't know. I like the spread, but we spread so much that the only route you have is an inside route. It's pretty easy to cover that, which is kind of mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm. All right, another text, 6543, kind of like what we were talking just a minute ago. Ike Larson came to play. Yeah,
he does. He always comes to play when he plays. He's going to He wants to get the ball in his hands so he can make a touchdown. Is what he wants to do.
The punt block, the interception. Mm-hmm. He was involved on a couple of big hits, and guy's got a nose for the ball. He's a player. 5180. Watched the entire game. As it progressed, it seemed like we had prostituted ourselves for $2 million. Wouldn't be surprised if Saban had dictated rules of engagement. Never seems like we're even trying a little.
Unfortunately, that's what it looked like.
That's a pretty good summary.
I hate to admit it, but that's kind of what it did look like. Supposedly, when this was signed, it was the third highest that anybody had ever been paid for a game when Utah State was signed to play Alabama for $1.9 million.
And I noticed your note in your pregame that this payout for this single game earned Utah State Athletics more than all the season ticket sales
more than
combined.
all the money of season ticket sales. Wow. Yeah, they get more. They won't make that much money in season ticket sales.
If folks don't want to go play this kind of game anymore, then buy more season tickets.
Well, yeah. I would say even though if they bought enough to exceed that, fill the stadium, that's still not enough money for us not to probably do this kind of thing once in a while.
And on this discussion, 2070 says Vandy, Mississippi, Rutgers, Indiana, Duke, schools not offering paychecks?
Probably not. Probably not much.
Not to that level.
Wake Forest, we ended up playing them a 2-for-1, so we got what we made here and had to go there twice. And the Washington State was supposed to be home and home, and of course COVID took care of them coming here to
that's
play.
Right. That's right.
That worked out.
Yeah, maybe a better idea is we take $800,000 and we go play, I don't know, UCLA or maybe a Mississippi State or somebody like that just we can go compete with, because Bama and Georgia, and Texas A&M, that's just it's going to be ugly.
We did get to the point, we were talking about this, is we almost beat Auburn the last time we were in Alabama, and they were coming off of being the national championship. Oh, now the meeting has ended. So if they had the meeting, or if they made comments after the game that was never anything that has been normal, they've done it before. So I don't know if we get any post-game stuff from hearing from Coach Anderson or not.
Okay.
So they've just ended the meeting just there now.
I don't blame him. If I were the coach, I would just want to get on the bus, get on the plane, get home, and burn that film and get back to work.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm now I've gone back in, and there's nobody else in there. So they ran it differently than I've ever seen it run before after the games and stuff. So I hopefully somewhere we can find. Did Jason, do you think, record it or something?
I'm just trying to find out right now, so I'll let you know.
If there was something there, we'll see if we can try to get to that. So we need to probably take a break and kind of regroup. And we're, again, running behind, but we'd love to have you join with us. You can call 753-KVNU, 753-5868, or you can text us at 339-0321 on game day on The Fan and KVNU. Brought to you tonight by D&D Auto Salvage. They're going to pay you the most you can get for a junk vehicle. So call 787-1204 to get rid of your junk vehicle today. And pickup is available from D&D Auto and Salvage.
Have you thought about your furnace lately? Of course not. It's hot outside. Now's a great time to start thinking about replacing it or having it serviced for fall and winter. Advanced Heating and Air will help you get some of the industry's best rebates on a new high-efficient York furnace installed in your home. Or one of Advanced Heating and Air's service professionals can service your furnace for the upcoming winter season. Call today, 752-7272, or schedule a free estimate at advancedheating-ac.com. York, install confidence.
Are you a small business owner? Who's your bank? This is Bruce Rigby. I want to invite you to bank with us at Cache Valley Bank. We specialize in helping small business, and we have great people. That's the Cache Valley Bank difference. Decisions made locally, without all the red tape, by people who care and know how to help small business. Cache Valley Bank, growing, expanding, and proud to have our roots firmly planted in Cache Valley. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Cache Valley, the Utah Wood Stove Changeout Program opens up February 1st. If you want to change out your wood fireplace or stove and replace it with a gas appliance, Advanced Fireplace and Stove can help. Receive up to $3,800 towards your new gas stove or fireplace insert. Idaho has a changeout program too. Let the professionals at Advanced Fireplace and Stove take the chill out of winter with a new Heat and Glow insert or Vermont casting stove. Stop by their showroom or visit them at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, the Allergy Clinic, and the Hearing Aid Center are now located in Providence, and Cache Valley's newest and most up-to-date medical clinic located at 2245 North 400 East in North Logan, just south of Cache Valley Hospital. The entire staff and Dr. Benyon, Blotter, and Robinette look forward to helping you and your family at this state-of-the-art medical facility. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is now located in Providence and their new office at 2245 North 400 East in North Logan. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for details. Most insurance products, including Select Med, are accepted.
It's KVNU Aggie Game Day, brought to you by Aegis Home Health and Hospice on News Talk KVNU and Sports Talk Radio, The Fan.
All right, Al Lewis here, along with Ryan Boehm, Eric Franson, and we appreciate you joining with us. And we do have some phone calls now on our post-game Aggie call, 55-0 for Alabama. And the phone number is 753-KVNU to join in on the show. And I believe the first one we will get to tonight is David. David, go ahead. You said you're down at Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, just getting back from the game here. We're kind of exiting the massive crowds leaving the stadium. It's a little hairy there, just the number of people that are trying to get out, but we're on a bus now leaving the stadium. But it was quite a great game, amazing experience in the stadium. They had tons of lights and music, the band and the, I guess, color guard. And there's the number of personnel they had in support of the football team itself. It's just a pretty amazing experience to be a part of. And I think the team played very well, given how outmatched they were. I mean, it was pretty clear when Alabama rolled on the field. I started to get this nervous, lump in my throat, thinking, "Oh man, we're going to be walking out of here with half of our starters injured." And I don't think it was the case. I think we made some good rotations, getting some other personnel in there, so that wasn't the case. I don't know what the official count is, but I think we tried to avoid that massive injury line as much as possible. But I think there was no shame in that score for Alabama for sure. We were definitely the underdogs, and I think it played out as predicted by ESPN and all the other guys. So overall good showing for the Aggies. Proud to be here, proud to see them play.
So you like the atmosphere, but you're not disappointed that we didn't do anything other than 55-0 in the game, David?
Oh no! When we sacked Young, their quarterback, that was my favorite part of the game.
I think we did get him. We did get him one time. That's right. We did.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we stopped him on the first drive and held him to a field goal. So those are probably my two favorite moments of the game.
Well, when down through the years, when I've been to all these big stadiums, been to Alabama twice, it is fun to be there. The atmosphere's on. People around here, they think maybe BYU and Utah tailgates. They have no idea what it's like to be at Alabama, LSU, Clemson, Georgia.
It's an all-day affair.
All these places. They have no idea. And you were experiencing that. So, David, I'm glad you got a chance to do that. Unfortunately, we didn't put any points on the scoreboard. So.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll do better.
Okay.
It's Mountain West Championship. That's what we care about.
Okay. I hope they can rebound and show something. Thanks,
Appreciate
David.
it.
All right, Sean, I believe was next. Sean, are you there now?
Yep.
Go ahead. What's your thoughts?
So I was also there. I was mercifully allowed myself to leave at halftime. I'd had enough.
So you got the atmosphere and then you got out of there, right?
Yeah, and the humidity. I don't know how people live down here. It's awful. But anyway, biggest positive takeaway, we had a ton of Aggie fans there. Was really proud to see so many people supporting, and hope we can do that for the rest of the season and travel well and make this a thing. And looking forward to Iowa next year for Labor Day. I think that'll be a little bit less awful.
Iowa only won today because they got two safeties and beat South Dakota State 7-3, I think was the final score in their game, something like that. So,
yeah.
And we've been to Iowa before, and that was when Hayden Fry was coaching before Ferentz the one time we went there. So, okay. Anything else then, Sean, about the atmosphere or anything else about the game?
Like we said, the tailgating is amazing. They know what they're doing. Super cordial, super nice, probably because they knew they were going to kill us. But it was fun, and I'm glad I win. Go Aggies.
Okay, thanks, Sean. And again, any of you had a chance to go, and any of you who have been to some of these places before, it is really something. Ryan, you had a chance to play in a place like this and play in some of these big atmospheres. And as a player, see, that's what's disappointing to me is it just seemed like after all of a sudden they got that 10-0 and 17-0 first quarter. It was not a rebound like this Aggie team has done in games. It was like it was over in a lot of ways offensively. Now, again, like you said, they tried to, but again, we can't compete with the athleticism and the preciseness of a Bryce Young.
Yeah, that's a tough thing about a game like this is if we sit back and are conservative defensively, he'll just pick us apart. If we're aggressive and we bring pressure, he just picks us apart. So, there's not a lot of options there. But I appreciate the sentiment. I love the fact that he said a lot of Aggies traveled there.
I kept seeing all over social media. Lots of people were there. And
I heard there was somewhere around 700 Aggies who were there.
And they wouldn't get that many tickets, so they would have to end up buying them from Alabama people and paying higher money because everything's a sold-out game every single time.
So that's fantastic. And there is Southern hospitality there. The people treat you well.
They'll share their tailgate stuff
totally.
with you, too.
You can walk to their tailgate, and they'll sit down. And
especially if you're from the other side. They love to have that field. Yeah,
because you've been there as a player, but also as a fan, right? You got to go down and watch a game in person on the sidelines.
Yep, went down 3 or 4 years ago, I think, and we got there about 3 hours early. Went and did the whole tailgate scene. Watched the team bus pull up and Saban jump off, and you'd think it was a bunch of superstars, and then just enjoyed them destroying Ole Miss 55-3 or something like that. So really similar game. But what was most interesting is they were up 50 points in the fourth quarter, and there was a pass interference that got called on Bama, and it was legit. And the guy that we were with, our host, just lost his mind.
And you're up 55.
He was so angry. And I looked at him and I just said, man, you're up 55-0. Like, it's okay that you gave up a first down. And he felt a little sheepish when I think he really thought about it. But that's the level of passion. And, I mean, these fans know the game. They understand. I mean, it's a religion. It is what you do in the fall in the South. They don't care about the NFL. It is all about college football and your alma mater. And it's you got to be careful. I mean, you wouldn't want to say, War Eagle or something when you're in Tuscaloosa.
Roll Tide and Auburn's the same deal if you say that down there.
But it's amazing. Everyone should experience that.
I'm going to say something. In our conference, they would have not waved off the pass interference calls. We would have got both of those calls to the end of the game. We would have had the ball down close to the goal line there. Because in our conference, they never call it. If the penalty's called, they never call it off.
Now, three times there. Flags thrown and they wave them off.
Yeah, there's no penalty here. So, all right, we do have now some audio, we believe, after the game was over. It was sent differently tonight, but we think we've got it, and so we'll let you hear that in just a moment, all you Aggie fans that are with us on game day. 55-0, the final score here. Utah loses to Florida. BYU did take care of South Florida. That was a huge number early, and I think that BYU, they had to wait for almost 3 hours before they started their game from the original time because of weather delays down there. And so we will go through scoreboard a little bit later on here as well. We'll get all the final stats in, but we'll get those comments, and then we'll have Ryan and Eric take care of that. You can also use the text line, 339-0321, to comment on the game and to comment on maybe what you hear from the coach and I believe Ike Larson. It's coming up next on Game Day.
Elements has delicious lunch specials, 2 for $30, or the new soup, salad, and bread special for just $10. It's tasty and quick. Elements' lunch menu is full of scrumptious items prepared with a personal touch. Wood-fired pizzas are an excellent choice that include barbecue chicken and the bee's knees. The fresh battered halibut fish and chips with seasoned fries is always a hit. And don't forget the fan favorite Munster burger, casual or professional. Open Monday through Thursday, 11:30 to 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11:30 to 9 p.m. Visit theelementsrestaurant.com for reservations today.
DD Auto and Salvage is going to pay you the most for junk vehicles. You can get rid of your junk vehicles today. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles by paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204.
Today. See store for details.
More analysis about today's game and your chance to talk about it. Call 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU. KVNU Game Day is back.
That's right. Also on the Fan, our sister station, brought to you by Keep Your Eyes Open for the State of Utah's Fireplace Changeout Program. Advanced Fireplace and Stove can also always help you with that. 752-7272 for your fireplace needs and for your heating and cooling needs, or even service on your unit as well. And speaking of service, how about LSS Insurance? They always, of course, believe their service and their customer service begins when you select one of their great policies. 752-9493. LSS Insurance brings you game day on the Fan and KVNU. So here we go to the post-game information that he had with the media after the game. There were a lot of the media that were there, and I believe they had to connect by a Zoom to wherever the coach was to be able to have the post-game. But here is what we've got.
All right, Trevor Wood with Deseret News. I'm curious what you told the team after this game.
Number one, that I love them and I'm proud of how hard they played, and that I wish this was not an environment that our team had to be in. But it is what it is. This is a game that you had to come play. It didn't feel like we were physically going to match up very well. We didn't. But as long as they played hard and tried to do what we asked them to do not doubt or be frustrated or be down at all. It is what it is, and that I've seen people in the SEC come here and get treated exactly the same way, and we're not built that way, and only having been there a year and a half, we're a long ways away from being able to play that game physically and match up. Maybe we'll never be able to, but this is we got to put this one where it belongs. So don't let this one linger. Learn from it, move forward, move on, and trust the way we do things. And that's about all we can do.
Other questions on Zoom?
Coach, Patrick Mayhorn with the Aggies. There were a couple injuries throughout the game to some starting defenders. Is there any update on guys like AJ or Cassidy or any of those guys?
Yeah, first indication is just all bumps and bruises. We were pretty cautious, obviously, with the score where it was. Didn't feel the need to risk anything. Once guys had some bumps and bruises, we were pretty cautious about putting them back out. Just my first glance and talking to the medical staff is that we should have everybody back and healthy this week to practice and get ready for Weber. So in that sense, that's a victory. We can't afford to lose a starter or a key player in a game like this, and with it being as physical as it is, that is possible. And so in that sense, I think we're fortunate.
Hard to pull a ton positive from this, but Ike Larson having another pretty important, impact here. Has the interception, blocks the punt. What did you see from him, and what have you been seeing from him?
I saw tonight what we see really on a daily basis. A guy that loves ball, got a big passion, just big heart, plays really hard, can cover ground extremely well, and the moment's not too big for him. I don't know that everybody at his age, as young as he is, and haven't played a lot, that's a rare talent, I think. So he's playing like a veteran in a lot of places. Now, he's not playing perfectly, and he's standing over to my left, and he's probably listening, so I don't want his head to get any bigger than it already is. But he is showing up when we need him to. He blocked the punt, doing exactly what I asked him to do. He was in the right spot on the pick. Last week, he made key plays and sealed the game. He's just going to get better, and he's got a great career ahead of him. So super proud of him, and expect him to only get better as weeks progress.
Coach, Trevor Wood with Deseret News again. How beneficial are in-game reps for young players in a game like this?
Well, there's nothing quite like playing a game. I mean, practice is not the same. Playing against that level of talent is unique in itself. But we did get a lot of people on the field, and you'd like to think, I don't know if there's a way to calculate that or really, visibly see it, but I just think game reps are critical, huge, to tackle a guy, to line up where you're supposed to play against a really physically talented football team, and the matchups be that difficult. There's some residual benefit from that, and hopefully down the stretch as the season progresses, as we have some injuries and guys do have to step up, those reps will help us be better when it really matters late in the year in conference play. So that's one of the few maybe benefits of tonight. There's not many, but that may be one.
Coach Jake Ellis, Utah Statesman. Wanted to get your overall impression on how special teams did tonight. Seemed like the punt team was pretty good, and constantly had a 60-yarder.
Yeah, he had a couple that he did not like at all. I think he's trying to be too cautious. We were very respectful of their returner. We've seen it not go well if you don't cover well. I thought we covered punts really, really well. He kicked a few huge ones, great hang time. Jamie Nance, Jade Smith, those guys did a phenomenal job of hemming things up. I think maybe the longest return was just a few yards more laterally than downhill. So in that sense, that was big. To get the punt block was huge. It was something we thought we could do and schemed it to get exactly the look we got. And Ike stepped up and made the play. So maybe the one place all night that we were successful and really the game plan fit exactly the way we needed it to.
Hey, Coach, Sean Harrison with the Herald Journal. Was there a thought at all of going or kicking a field goal at the end there to get some points, or was you just wanting to get it in the end zone?
You know, at that point, man, a field goal is really not going to benefit anybody. Wanted to give our guys a chance to get a ball in the end zone, wanted to move the chains. If it was a close game and strategically a field goal made sense, that'd be one thing. But when you're down where we are, I think just getting reps and trying to execute a play is way more important.
Coach Jason Walker with Cache Valley Daily. You pulled Logan Bonner pretty early. Was that just kind of precautionary, the way you've been kind of holding him back sometimes in the scrimmages?
Bonner, he got dinged early, and with the knee, we don't want to take a lot of chances. It was swollen. Structurally seems fine. He'll be fine next week, but it wasn't smart to continue to put him out there. Wasn't going to be able to move like we needed him to.
Coach Brian Priest with KSLSports.com. Wondering what you thought of the performances in a tough environment of Cooper Lagasse and Levi Williams, not necessarily even in terms of numbers, but more so how they managed the offense.
In that sense, I thought both did well. That's a pretty chaotic environment to be in. They're under duress a good bit. To not have thrown a pick, and we did have one ball ended up on the ground, probably a pretty physical hit that I think that caused it, but they did a good job, communicated well, and tried. We've got a couple first downs along the way. Considering the environment, I thought both did fine.
Any other questions for Coach Anderson?
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
You're listening post-game coverage here, and again from the Aggies 55-0 loss, and I believe Ike Larson is going to come in next as the player.
Next up, we've got redshirt safety, redshirt freshman safety Ike Larson. We'll start with questions in-house, and then we'll go to Zoom second.
They were way better than us, and we got to just take what we learned and move on from that.
Again, they're asking the questions down there, and we can't hear the questions, but hopefully the answers will make sense to us.
It was pretty fun, but I rely on my teammates, and they rely on me in right position, right time, and at the end of the day, I am blessed, but there's also a lot of things that play an account to me getting those plays. So. That was just a game plan deal. We knew they would run the vert route, so going back to Coach Bonda and just game planning all week, and it worked out, and I was successful. Yeah, Bryce Young is a really good quarterback. I watched him last year, and he's really good, and I have a lot of respect for him, and he deserves the hype that he gets. So.
Okay, questions from folks on Zoom for Ike.
Hey, Ike. Trent Wood with Deseret News. I'm curious just how beneficial for you in your career getting on the field is and just getting in-game reps versus just practice.
It's been great. I had to work for it. Coach Bonda has built trust for me, and, just got to keep going and keep doing what I can do in practice and prove myself to the team.
What was this environment like for you? I assume you've never been in an environment like the one you were in tonight.
No, I've never been in this type of environment before, but, it was awesome. First time, and, you get the butterflies a little bit, but, at the end of the day, like, you just got to execute the plays, and I feel like we did that pretty well, and they were just a better team tonight.
Hey, Ike, Brian Priest, KSLSports.com. I was just wondering what areas you feel like your game has most improved in your time at Utah State.
Probably my tackling, because Coach Bond is on it every single day, and like if we don't tackle, we're probably running in practice. But yeah, probably my tackling.
And I one follow-up question. What went into the decision as far as your position, playing defensive back versus playing on offense like you did in high school?
I've been a really defensive back at heart my whole life, so when I got the call from Coach Anderson to get the opportunity to play safety for him, I bid on it, and I'm happy I did, so I'm happy he gave me the opportunity.
Any other questions for Ike? Okay.
So there it is. That's from the post game with the coach and with Ike Larson. Aggies lose 55-0. That's brought to you by, again, do not let Mother Nature spoil your night. Get that Generac backup generator installed from Golden Spike Electric right away. Towards the colder winter months coming ahead, you want to always be safe in your home or business. 257-3016 is their phone number. Appreciate Golden Spike Electric for joining with us. You said, Eric, that we do have the Van Lewens who went to the game, Travis and Zach, who joined with us last week. Guys, can you hear me? Guys, can you hear me now? Hello? I can hear them, but I think I'm feeding it down the line I'm supposed to. So you got anything there, Zach and Travis? No, we'll try to get that, and we can hear that they're connected. And we'll get to Ryan, anything quickly about what you heard from the coach or player there after the game? I mean, little bit, again, kind of goes back to what you thought the coach said earlier in the week about already kind of giving up before they even went in some ways. And that's kind of sad because he kind of also said, though, hey, we're going to put in a game plan, and if we can make the plays and we don't mess up. And, I mean, really, we didn't turn over the ball. I mean, I guess you can go for fourth down at the 34 and not get the first down. That's like a turnover. But really, that's about the only real mistake the Aggies made in the game that was a real, major one or things like that.
Yeah, I like what Coach says 99% of the time. But I haven't been super impressed with this week and what he said there. Just because, I mean, take your shot, swing, and if you miss, okay, you're playing a bigger and badder and more athletic and better team. But take your shot. So the kind of defeatist attitude a little bit. Like we're being very respectful of their kick returner, so we're just going to kick it out of bounds and do 20-yard punts.
I thought we did horrible with our punt game at times tonight.
Like, yeah, he had one good one. But, and again, I totally get it. Like, we don't want to give up a punt return for a touchdown, but if you give them the ball at the 50-yard line 3 times, they're going to score touchdowns too. So to some degree, you can get so conservative and so respectful. Like, we have athletes too that can tackle this guy. So kick it to the corner, but still kick it in play and go tackle him.
And we've got guys also who we never tried to return a kickoff, even from the goal line or around the 1 or 2 yard line or 1 yard into the end zone. When you're down like that, maybe you break something on a kickoff return.
Absolutely. We need every opportunity to get an explosive and make a play. And we didn't even try to return a kick. Again, to me, that's an attitude of, hey, we don't want to get our kick returner hurt, so we're not going to return any kicks.
Or we don't want to get pinned back to the 10-yard line. But again, when you're behind...
Who cares? Who cares if you're on the 10 or the 25? So I understand what he's saying, and I totally get that he's thinking long game. He's thinking conference play.
And that's more important down the line or anything like that.
Totally. But from just a perspective of the team and setting the tone for the team, that there's never a game where we're just going to go show up. It's kind of hard to walk this game back if that's the way that we kind of went into it. So didn't love those. Now Ike, again, had a great showing, went out there and played hard. Appreciate his effort. He talks about butterflies in that environment. My experience playing in a big stage like that, Bama, my freshman year, Arkansas, my sophomore year, it's different in pregame. The travel's different. The crowd's different. The stadium's different. But once the kickoff happens, it's just another football game. It's just another football game. I didn't hear the crowd any more than I heard a crowd in Wyoming or anywhere else. It was just another football game. So between the lines, talking heads, us right now, we try and talk a lot about all this other stuff. But between the hashes, like, it's just another football game.
Oregon State's beating Boise State 24-0 right now towards the end of the first half in their game. I believe we got Travis and Zach now. Can you hear us now?
We can hear them. They can't hear us. They're trying to reconnect for some reason.
Okay.
We can.
They're on because we can hear the sirens and everything like that.
Oh, they're not coming for them.
Okay, so. But Zach and Travis Van Leeuwen joined with us last week when Ryan couldn't be here, and they went to the game, so we thought it would be fun to check in with them. So we'll take one more break and see if we connect with them as well. Again, 55-0 for Alabama, the final score, and it's game day. And we're brought to you in part by Young Truck and Travel Center. Competitive pricing offered on every make and model they have of trailers and flatbed work trucks in Cache Valley at 2900 South Highway 89. Young Truck and Trailer Center. We appreciate them joining with us on game day here on KVNU and The Fan.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. The Labor Day sale, our biggest sale of the year, is in full swing right now. Come in and choose from the 2 world's best beds, IntelliBed and Tempur-Pedic. Get up to $1,500 off these beds, up to 5 years, no interest financing, and no sales tax. 90-day sleep guarantee and 90-day price guarantee. Queens start at just $239. Special truckload latex mattresses only at My Mattress. The Labor Day sale. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally?
News Talk KVNU Logan, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Sports Talk Radio, KLGN Logan, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
I'm here with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden. Mark, can you tell us a little about your experience with ChemDry of Northern Utah?
Our carpets get really dirty at Anderson Seed and Garden, and we clean every January. Our timing is kind of difficult. I called Daryl, and he was amazing to work around our schedule. They came in and cleaned our carpets. They looked like brand new when they were all done, and they've just been amazing to work with.
ChemDry of Northern Utah. ChemDry of Northern Utah. 435-752-6100.
Aggie Game Day continues. Sponsored by Cache Valley Bank on News Talk KVNU and Sports Talk Radio, The Fan.
Okay, Al Lewis back with Eric Franson and Ryan Bowman. Eric, you said you got some more stuff for us from our text line, which again is available for you at 339-0321.
Yeah, a couple of texts coming through. Appreciate your patience giving us a second to get to them. This is from 2070. This will help us keep Coach Anderson for another 2 years. If we compete in this game, we lose him. See Wisconsin and Pryor Anderson.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And we do like our coach right now, so
yeah,
we'll take the money and the coach.
And the coach. 1279. Not much to say about that game. It was a little more disappointing than I expected, but not by a lot. Really didn't even see any moral victories to take away from it.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that too.
I mean, the play of Ike Larson, maybe that's a moral victory. A takeaway, a punt block. Those are positives.
Yeah. I hope that Ike's play kind of inspires some other guys to make plays, because there's a difference between being on the team and doing your job and being on the field and going out and changing a game and making plays to change the game. And there was a lot of that today where we were on the field and we were like doing our job, but he was really the only guy that went out there and was like, no, I'm going to go make a play. We need more of that across the board and I know we have guys that can do it. So hopefully, as they watch that film, maybe they get excited and say, man, if he can do that, I can make a play and really change the game. A punt block in a close game changes a game. You're going to win a football game that's tight when you go block a punt, right? So that type of stuff, we could take that into future weeks.
Okay. I do have Travis and Zach Van Leeuwen on the phone line. We finally have connected with them. Zach, I believe, was the one who connected with me first. So, guys, just your overall general opinion. I don't know, Zach, you can start off with what you thought of the football game tonight. Obviously, a big disappointment for Aggies to lose 55-0 down there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a disappointment to come, travel all this way and lose like we did. But that's probably the best football team I've ever watched, and I guarantee we'll see them playing for the national championship at the end of the year. Still think the Aggies could have done better and made plays in different areas of the game, but, I mean, the Alabama football team's really good. So, but that's kind of my initial thought to take away after being here in person.
We were just talking about Ike Larson, who may be one of the bright spots to take away from the game today. What did you guys see in his play and how he performed?
Well, Ike's an incredible player. We all know that. He's a playmaker. He's made plays since he was in high school on up through college. But I really think his development is progressing fast in front of us, and he's a guy that's always going to come out and compete at the highest, regardless. I know we've got a lot of other guys that come out and compete at the highest regardless too, but he's really standing out with his level of play, and I'm really excited to see what he can continue to do for our defense and our team as the season progresses. But yeah, he's an explosive player. I mean, anytime the ball is in the air, he can go and get it like a receiver. So he makes a really good defensive back. He's dangerous.
Travis, somebody asked him post-game, and I don't know if you heard that, about, okay, you came to Utah State. Why aren't you thinking about playing on offense rather than defense? He said, I've been a defensive player way back. You had him as a defensive player when you were the coach of the team at Logan High.
Yes, I did. I had him on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, he's a talented kid that can make a difference on either side of the ball. You could put him on offense, and he could develop there and be an incredible player there too. But and I think he would succeed on either side of the ball. But again, on the defensive side of the ball is what he brings to a defense from that safety position. His instinctualness, his ability to go high point the football. He can come down and make plays in the run game and tackle well. And then not only that, if he gets the ball in his hands on a turnover, he can make something big happen. So, he's definitely an electrifying player, one I'm really excited to watch for the Aggies the next several years.
Let me ask both of you guys, your receivers. The disappointment to me tonight is I knew that it would be hard to run the ball against Alabama, and it always is. But usually if we have a chance in these games, we can throw the ball around a little bit. To throw it 8 for 22, 57 yards. Is it Alabama was so good that we had no chance of the passing game, or what was you guys' analysis of that?
Well, initially I thought we were going to throw it around more with the first play of the game when we took a shot down the field. My hopes would have been to throw it more, and I really don't understand why they didn't try to do that more, because I think, that's giving yourself the best shot knowing you're going against the best front seven in the country like Alabama's, and I think that would have given them a lot more opportunities to have explosive plays and put some points on the board. But, obviously they had a really good secondary and probably the best secondary they'll face in the country, but I think you would have given yourself chances to put points on the board had you tried to throw it around a little bit more.
Let me ask you guys. Oh no, go ahead, Travis.
Go ahead, Travis.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna piggyback off that. Especially once the game starts to get away, you want to try and at least move it and keep it close. So I think taking some shots could have helped, or trying some double moves, or even just trying to set yourself up on, first down, where running a lot on first down gets you in second and 10, which gets you in 3rd and 10, which is hard to convert. Trying to get ahead of the chains with a, 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4 with quick passing game off the bat. And maybe a little bit more of switching it up with a little bit more of a quick game on first down or taking some shots. But again, that Bama team is incredible. I don't think you can come out and throw or run on them. I think teams have tried. It's tough, but it would have definitely been nice to see it aired out a little bit.
Okay, now, Eric.
Yeah, it's my question for you guys. Just the lead up to this game, it started last Monday from Coach Anderson, just the best team on the planet. There's no weaknesses on this team, and the players hear that, they start to believe that, and then they go out and not to say that they played complacent, but as we've detailed, I think we all would have liked to have seen a little bit more of an aggressive play calling and game plan from Utah State in this one. From a player perspective, and even as a coach perspective, as you've got some of that experience, Travis, just the attitude of the coach heading into an opponent, how does that affect the team, and do you feed off of that? How infectious is that, and how does that affect the game before it even gets played?
I think it's very important, obviously, because that's where all the eyes are at, right? The players look up to that person. But I feel like in those regards, they were ready, and they were ready to compete. And I could see that in their eyes pregame and even after the game. They were there to compete. I just think it was one of those games where it goes, one of two ways, where if you don't keep yourself in it early on, it's going to be tough to hang in there and do some things. And unfortunately, I feel like it got away from them quick. And when you get in that situation against a team like that, it's tough. But, yeah, I think that you're right, having that attitude of we've got to start fast and we got to jump out on them quick and be aggressive, that can really help in a game like this.
Okay, guys, one final thing for you before I let you leave, and I'm sure you got to get going somewhere down there in Alabama anyhow. Now you turn around, you go Connecticut, Alabama, Weber State before you start conference play. Some would, of course, now this next week think, okay, we can come back and get right back into it. Does a game like this have any baggage towards the Weber State game next week?
My initial thoughts is watch the film, take what you can learn, find things you did well, and on to the next game. Like I said, I think this is the best team in the country. You can't let the score and whatnot and what happened here in Tuscaloosa affect how you want the rest of your season to go. So I think the biggest thing that Utah State can do is just take the film, learn from it, and just move on to the next one and continue to, learn to execute. Something I pointed out to Trav was, still, if we can see that team that we saw in the second quarter of the UConn game, then it's going to be a special season for the Aggies because both sides of the ball, offensive and defensively. So if they can continue to channel that, to continue to learn and grow each week, then I think they can, build a bounce back fine and get a win against Weber State.
Okay. And again, I'm sure both of you, though, enjoyed and loved the situation of being down there and seeing that kind of atmosphere of playing in the best, maybe the best stadium of the best football team in America.
Most definitely. It was an incredible atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely an incredible atmosphere and experience we'll always remember as far as spectators coming to watch and check things out. It is the reason they are the way they are, and they've built definitely a historic program. It's incredible.
Okay.
I understand there was a pretty good-sized contingency of Aggies down there. What was that like seeing and how many Aggie fans do you suspect were down there watching the game?
I think from what they said, there was about 1,100 fans that traveled to the game.
Wow.
We had a good corner of blue in our lower, northeast side of the stadium. Could make ourselves known when we did have a couple good plays, but there was a good turnout as far as Aggie fans, so it was awesome seeing the section of blue.
Okay, well, they targeted your brother a couple times. He did make a couple of tough catches of short yardage deals in the game, but guys, appreciate you joining with us, and we'll talk to you more as the season goes on, okay? We'll travel safe getting back, okay?
Thank you. Thanks for having us out.
Oh, gosh, it's great to have you guys with us, and appreciate Eric lining that up and getting you down there in Alabama. Ryan Boehm, Eric France, and myself, we'll continue. We got one final segment here in our game day coverage of the Aggies. Again, we're on the Fan and KVNU. Brought to you by Daryl's Appliance Service and Sales with their fridges and freezers and washers and dryers and all the great brand names. Beautiful downtown Benson. They bring you the game day on the Fan and KVNU. We'll be right back.
We are Agis Home Health and Hospice. Agis, A-E-G-I-S. Our home is your home. We are more than an organization of healthcare professionals. We are proud members of our community. Compassionate, quality patient care is our mission. I am Jason Jones. I'm a proud member of the Agis team. At Agis, we're dedicated to character, experience, and trust. Agis Home Care and Hospice. We will ensure you experience the difference. 435-723-9000 or find us at myagis.com.
Back to school means back to massive laundry piles. Get a washer that can handle your busy laundry schedule. Head to Daryl's today for a great deal worth your time. This is Jay from Daryl's Appliance. We have a GE top-load laundry pair with a 4.2 cubic foot capacity tub and a 7.2 cubic foot dryer for only $11.07 for the pair. Hurry, stock is limited. See store for details. Daryl's Appliance Service and Sales West on Airport Road, open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
Hi, this is Bob Larson with LSS Insurance. If you're about to turn 65, you have been bombarded with so much mail and pestering phone calls. Ditch the junk. We make Medicare easy. We will answer your questions and get you the information you need. We are your health insurance specialists. Call 752-9493. Having local help makes all the difference, and there's no cost to you. We're here for you now and in the years to come. Call 752-9493 or visit lssins.com.
We're at 10:15 on Saturday night here in Logan, where the Aggies again do not even score a point for the first time in 15 years, I think we said, of football. Go back to a 52-0 loss to Boise State, who incidentally is getting blanked at the half by Oregon State in their game, and we took care of Oregon State in the bowl game last year, so that's where we're at. Aggies lose, though, 55-0. And Ryan, you were just making a note about it as we were talking about during the break. Air Force beat Northern Iowa today 48-17. They rushed for 582 yards of rushing. Wyoming in double overtime over Tulsa, and Andrew Peasley gets tears maybe from Craig Bohl, the coach, about what he's been through with some of the Wyoming fans, but boy, he led them to win. Nevada beats Texas State 38-14. New Mexico beats Maine 41-0. So those are our conference wins on the day. San Diego State inaugurates their new stadium, and again, they still don't look very good offensively. And then they couldn't stop Arizona's brand new team that won one game last year, and Arizona wins 38-20.
Only one offensive touchdown from San Diego State.
Yeah, and Arizona blocked their own punt for one of their touchdowns. The guy who was protecting the punter in a short yardage down around the goal line, he got over there, and the punter was trying to hurry, and he kicked it right into the guy's arm. So they recovered that one. And then, of course, the Aggies and Colorado State in their performances against the big time. So Hawaii still to play Western Kentucky. But Fresno State won last night. Fresno's probably the best-looking team right now in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the way Boise's looking right now, I think the conference appears to be totally up in the air. There doesn't really seem to be any teams that are looking super strong right now. Obviously, it's super early in the season, and we'll see over the next few weeks kind of who comes to the top. But right now, it looks like it's up in the air. Anybody could go get it.
And Fresno won 35-7. They scored 21 in the first quarter against Cal Poly, and then after that kind of just rolled along. And then San Jose last night, or 2 nights ago, beat Portland State 21-17. So that's what the conference has done this week. No real big, great signature type wins.
No marquee wins for the conference yet. Mm-hmm. No, that's true. A couple more texts coming through here, guys. I want to get your reactions. This is 5464. At least Aggie fans can take a little schadenfreude over Boise currently getting picked apart by Oregon State.
Yeah, if they get blanked by Oregon State, it's probably worse than getting blanked by Alabama.
Yes.
Yeah,
no question.
True. Absolutely. 1790. Just checking in. Is USU still in the stadium trying to establish the run up the middle, or did they get on the bus?
There's some. Unfortunately, it seems like some truth to that.
They may still be working on some things. Then actually there was another text here from 1790 that I missed. Way to represent USU, Boise, CSU, SDSU. Jeez. Yeah, just as we were saying.
It is kind of disappointing because I think we all felt like our conference was kind of interesting and good last year with what was happening in the league.
I would have thought the
what's
Aztecs
scary is
and
Air
the
Force 582 yards. I know we never could stop Air Force running the ball. That's scary.
That is the worst game every year, no question. That is the most gimmicky worst team to play in the country. No one wants to play Air Force.
So
no one.
Here's what's coming up. We got Weber State, a bye, UNLV, BYU, and Air Force. That's kind of the next little run of games for the Aggies, isn't it? I think that's what it is.
After look, and UNLV took the Aggies to the wire last year.
And UNLV did have a good win. Oh, I mean, they beat a team they probably should beat, Idaho State, but they really pummeled them in their first game of the season. So
another text that came through 2070. Moment of silence for the two $1,000 bets on USU to win the national championship.
Those guys supposedly were at the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure within 5 seconds they knew that money was gone.
To do that, though, they have to have enough that losing 1,000, they're going to still make some somewhere. After that, though, there were supposedly 3 or 4 or 5 other people who did it, too, after they heard that these other guys did it. That's what I heard.
Well, sometimes you just need to not follow the crowd.
Not follow the crowd. Okay. All right, so is there, Ryan, any, like I said to the Van Leeuwens a few minutes ago, in your mind, as a player, baggage towards next week now, turning around and playing Weber State?
No. These kids, from what I can tell, it was over before it started. On the way home, they're going to watch film tomorrow. There'll be some bumps and bruises, but it's on to Weber. So this was just hey, we played the best team of the century. They thumped us. We're going to go beat Weber. So I really don't think so. As long as there's no significant injuries, that's water under the bridge.
The coach, we just talked about betting things. Supposedly, going into this season, Alabama was the third most likely national champion in betting lines. Only like an Alabama team of a couple of years ago and USC were ever at least lower odds than the bettors are putting money on this Alabama team this year to win it.
Sure. Well, you've got 2 guys that were in you have the Heisman Trophy winner coming back as a quarterback into his junior season. So theoretically, he's going to be better. And you have the best defensive player in the country who, according to these guys, got stronger and faster and everything else. Obviously, they had a top 5, recruiting class. They just reload everything. Saban's ticked because he lost in the state or the championship. So yeah, I mean, maybe there's never been a team with more hype and probability of living up to the hype than this Alabama team.
And they get Texas next week, what they think will be their hardest game until they maybe play somebody for the championship in the Southeastern Conference.
They're going to crush Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, good luck, Sarkisian. Saban playing former assistants. I think the Georgia championship game was the first time he's ever lost to a former assistant. So
Kirby Smart was with him at one time.
He looks at Sarkisian. He won't say it, but their practice is going to be brutal this week. They're going to be flawless, and they will trounce Texas on Saturday.
It'll be rough. And I think I was reading something earlier leading up to the prep for this game, but they are expecting Alabama to be favored by double digits in nearly every single game they play this year.
And they'll be at Austin for the game next week is where it is, too. So it's not a neutral site. It's Austin. They're going to play Texas home and home, I think is the way. That's what their AD is trying to do now, is try not to do these neutral site. He wants to play home and home against these Power 5 teams that want to play them in the preseason, and that's what they've tried to set up some of their schedule for it also.
Yeah, it was rough, right? Really, really good team, sure. But I appreciate when we've seen coaches take that as an opportunity to go and showcase what they can do. And I'm not saying that I don't believe that Blake Anderson didn't take that approach, but
once the game got away, you just felt like it was done.
Just seemed to fold up the tent offensively. Defensively, I think you're right, Ryan. I mean, Ephraim Bonda kept throwing pressures, and guys were still getting after it. But offensively, it was pretty bland, pretty vanilla. So I guess that was a little disappointing for me today, just to see how that played out.
And the one thing with our defense, again, if you do pressure like you do and you have the guys get through, you could see tonight where Young could run forever once he got our safeties are coming a lot of times in different places, and they're rolling over to play for somebody who's coming off the edge because we are putting pressure on a lot of times, and we could leave the middle of the field a little bit vulnerable and open at times, and some of those runs and a few of the passes kind of burned us a little bit tonight in the game.
Another text. This is from 2070. I can't decide what I'm more disappointed by, this performance or USU basketball's preseason schedule.
I mean, hey,
it's a pretty soft non-conference schedule for USU.
If BYU won't play you when they're supposed to come to Logan, kind of in the rotation and all, the way it's going, so you can't get that done. To be able to get Bradley and Santa Clara and some of those teams to come here.
San Francisco is a good game.
And that's a game they'll play on a neutral court in San Francisco and stuff, the Warriors building. So, yeah, I mean, I think people just don't want to come here and play basketball. They just know what the spectrum's been like and how hard it is to play there. So
yeah, well, a lot of home games in the non-conference. So
there is mostly home games.
A lot of opportunities to see this.
Only one road game at San Diego, and then the tournament in Hawaii, the neutral in Vegas, and the neutral in San Francisco.
Yeah,
is the way it'll work out. So, Ryan, did you like 12 teams for the national championship in the upcoming years?
That's fantastic. That is great news for college football. I love. I mean, the end result isn't going to be any different. But at least we won't have to sit back and say, what if a Utah, a Cincinnati, a Boise State, when they're playing well, how would they stack up? They're going to get crushed too. But on any given Saturday, if you play really well, who knows, right? And, the best group of 5 team is not going to beat that Alabama team, but they could beat some of the other teams that are in the playoffs. And so those are marquee, wins. They're some of the biggest wins that could ever happen in these programs, and now we're going to have an opportunity. So I think it's fantastic for college football. I mean, how cool would it be to go to a game like that and see, some of these other teams get a step up and try and, win a big-time game? They're not going to win the national championship, but that will be the best month of football. I mean, it'll be incredible.
It'll be great.
It'll be unbelievable. I mean, March Madness is so cool for a couple weeks, but college football is just better. And so to have that similar atmosphere just is exciting.
What's the worst thing, and Ryan, you've been around long enough like me, and Eric, you've been here in the state, though, is we will probably, here soon, never see Utah and BYU play Utah State again in football and basketball.
We're moving in that direction. Absolutely. I mean, Utah hasn't played USU in football or basketball in 10 years.
We played the one time in the Delta Vivint in a non-conference basketball, but they haven't played football until
been about
the Matt Wells, like 14, maybe 15, something.
Did
like
Matt
that.
Wells ever play him?
Yeah, did.
That was early on then.
Yes. The last time we played Utah was in 2000. His first year, 2013. Oh, hold it. We played him in 2015 too. Didn't play him at 14. So we played Utah in 15.
That was in Salt Lake.
Mm-hmm. Both of those were in Salt Lake after we beat them here in Logan in 2012.
Right.
Oh, right.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it's too bad.
Because that, in some ways, Texas A&M, Texas, Utah State, BYU, some of these rivalries, Texas and Oklahoma, they'll be in the conference together, I guess, eventually in the Southeast, and they'll probably put them back together. But there's a lot of these rivalries that, they finally played West Virginia and Pittsburgh and sold the stadium out at Pittsburgh with the biggest crowd they've ever had in that stadium for a game.
Yeah. It's too bad. Obviously, those are fun games. You circle them on the calendar. But from a Utah BYU perspective, they have nothing to gain and they have a lot to lose. If they come and they beat us, they're supposed to. They're Power 5. If they lose, which it's different playing us than playing a Weber or playing a Utah Tech or
even a
like
Fresno State.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, they have a lot to lose by scheduling that game and coming to Romney Stadium and losing, Maverick Stadium. But it's... So, unfortunately, I don't see them, from a nostalgia perspective, just saying, oh, yeah, we're going to schedule this because, of tradition. They're going to go, no, we don't want to put ourselves in a situation and blow our season by getting beat by a team that will be competitive with us.
Yeah, tradition has gone out the window. It's all about money.
All about money. So.
Yep.
All righty, our spots and our sponsors for tonight are done. 55-0, the final score. Anything else from you, Ryan, then, on tonight? I think we've hammered it into the ground.
I don't think so. We'll just...
I think we could have come on at about 5:40 and done about the same show.
Yes. We could have predicted what was going to happen.
So, and Eric, anything else from you then?
No. I mean... It was a dark game, right? It was a struggle. There are a few bright spots. Ike Larson. I think that still the freshman running back Robert Briggs, 10 carries for 28 yards, but he was your leading rusher, and the true freshman.
Yep.
Yeah, and you got a true freshman on defense who made plays. So I think we just have to be careful not to take too much away from just this singular game, and. But this team really needs to show out a lot next week.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of Aggie fans that are getting pretty nervous.
Well, then you got to do that because then you go into a bye and then you turn around and play a conference game, BYU, for maybe the last time or whatever, and then play, and then you get to another conference game and another conference. It's
a tough stretch.
Yeah, it is. It's a good stretch. And the first two conference games are going to be at home, so you better win those two, too, when it comes up. So Ike Larson did have the most tackles with 7. Gervin Hall had 6, and 1 you had 5. Notice it's not linebackers. Tafisi only had 3. I remember 1 key touchdown. He was right there to make a play and did not make the tackle on that play. Von Pachong only had 2 tackles in the game. So, again, there were a lot of people who made tackles in this game, unfortunately, for the Aggies. And, again, stat-wise, Cobbs had 2 catches for 33 yards. Van Leeuwen had 2 for 1 yard. Davis had 1 for 9. McGriff had 1 for 6. Vaughn had 1 for 6. Tyler had 1 for 2. Tyler, 12 carries, 13 yards. Briggs had 10 carries, 28 yards. Makakona had 6 for 14. Vaughn had 1 for 10. Laga had 2 for 8. Davis 1 for 6. Levi Williams 4 carries for 2 yards. Bonner lost 2 yards. Bonner was 3 of 9, 39 yards. Levi Williams was 2 of 5, 15 yards. And Laga was 3 of 8, 3 yards. So there's your final stats for Cache Valley Bank and 55-0 for Alabama. So, again, the Aggies and Weber State coming up this next week for the Aggie football game. And, again, our third game of the season. There's no television. I believe it's only going to be on the internet. It starts at 5 o'clock, so we'll be on about 3:30 to talk about it. And then we'll be here after the game as well. And then they get a bye, and then UNLV to start conference play is where it's happening. So 55-0 our final. And we appreciate Cache Valley Bank always bringing you the stats. We also appreciate here tonight on our post-game coverage, Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Again, make it special and make it Jarek's Fine Jewelry out on North Main and Logan. And the Riverwoods Conference Center would like to invite you down for a great night at Elements Restaurant here this next week sometime, maybe for the holiday on Labor Day when you're off, and any kind of special event you got coming up, make sure you use Riverwoods Conference Center for that as well. So that'll do it for our sponsors and for all the people responsible. We appreciate you joining with us very, very much on our broadcast for this evening of our game day coverage of the Aggies on KVNU. We'll join the Perspective Show from ABC News, and we will join that in progress again coming up here in just a moment.